So how do you grow and how do you keep growing? That's what I'd like to look at, is how do we grow? We really covered that last week. In many ways, it begins with a desire. I want to grow, which means oftentimes you got to get the wrong desires out. I think that's why verse 1 begins as it does. Laying aside these things as a newborn babe, desire the sincere milk of the word. So there needs to be a desire there. Now, I'll be honest with you, as I was growing up even in church, and I love the way the song started out that Brother Stephen was singing a moment ago, and how that he grew up, and many of us grown up in church and seeing those red letters and reading the Bible very often, memorizing verses. But there needs to come a time when it's personal. There needs to come a time when you want to grow. And in about age, actually it was camp. And that's the reason I'm so passionate about camp and conference, because where sin had moved into my life, I allowed it to, and it caused my spiritual desire and zeal to wane. Once I started getting things right with God, and God used camp and youth rallies and other things, and my pastor, I began to realize, you know what, he can preach. But when I was a teenager, I just kind of got through the service because I wanted to be with my friends afterwards. But then I began to realize, you know what, he's up there preaching the word, and he loves me. And he cares about me. And so my perspective began to change when I began to have a desire. And obviously that's the God working. Isn't it true, church, that God's the one that takes initiative in all this? And we could go back to chapter 1 and see that the Spirit of God was working and moving. The Spirit of God using the Word of God to bring you to salvation. But we've seen this over and over. It's also this, the Spirit of God using the Word of God to help us to grow spiritually. Listen, you can't grow without the Spirit of God. I can't grow without the Spirit of God. We can't do this. Look, you can't be saved by your own human effort. You can't grow spiritually in your human effort alone. Are you following me right here? It is as Jim Berg said in his book, Changed into His Image, it is a joint venture between God and man. I mean, yes, you have a responsibility in it. We all do. We all have a responsibility to pick up the Word and to come to Christ daily. But thank God that He's the one that actually initiates this and begins that journey of spiritual growth. But I want to speak to you tonight about your side of the equation. And what Peter is emphasizing, how that, yes, you need to desire as a newborn babe, because they would desire that milk eagerly and regularly. And it didn't matter if parents were asleep or not, they're hungry. That's kind of how it is, isn't it? Now, as a father of a newborn way back, I purpose to be a help to Angie. And sometimes that's as far as it got. Purposing. It's amazing what men can sleep through. Right? It's actually a gift. But sometimes I'd sleep right through, but my wife would be up. Why? Because one of the boys were crying, they were hungry, something like that. But that's what Peter's using here, that analogy. Just like that newborn baby is hungry. Hey, listen, folks, we need to be hungry for the Word of God. And if we're not hungry for the Word of God, then something's wrong. If a child's not hungry, if a baby's not hungry, then something's wrong. If a Christian's not hungry for the Word of God, then something's wrong. So let's figure out what's wrong and let's get back to our